Welcome to European Railway, issue number 51, the DVD magazine for the continental enthusiast. In this programme, we look at narrow gauge operations in Western Austria, a journey through northern Italy, a look at traffic on a busy and picturesque route in northern Slovakia. Locomotive haul trains on a classic main line to the north of Orléans. And finally, a journey along the Middle Rhine from Bingen to south of Koblenz. We begin in Western Austria and the 760mm gauge Zillertalbahn that runs for 32 kilometers to the south of Jenbach. We follow the route east of the town and then south to the line's terminus at Mayrhofen, looking at a variety of services that operate on the branch. Our filming begins east of Jenbach at the small town of Strass im Zillertal, with scenes taken to the north and the south of the station. Heading north is diesel locomotive number D15, painted in a very dark grey livery, sporting an advertising vinyl guaranteeing the presence of snow and the different transport methods that can be employed in getting you to it. The locomotive slows with a service from Mayrhofen on Monday the 1st of July 2013. The town lies at the start of the Ziller Valley, which heads south from the valley of the river Inn. All around are superb views of distant mountains that rise to over 2,500 metres. Filmed from the north of the station is sister locomotive number D14, one of 4 members of this class. The locomotive was one of 2 delivered in 2004, whilst the other 2 arrived on the line in 2007. The locos are mainly used on push-pull passenger services, as well as freight trains to and from Fugen-Hart. Timber traffic used to account for some 350,000 tonnes moved each year, but in April 2013 the traffic was suspended due to an issue surrounding charges. The service was jointly operated by the Zillertalbahn and Rail Cargo Austria, where standard gauge wagons are hauled along the line using special transporter wagons. The Zillertalbahn entered direct negotiations with the customer, saving at least some of the traffic, as can be witnessed here. Number D13 is in charge of this southbound working. We see the train once more, except this time filmed from just south of the town. The 4 members of this class were constructed as gauge convertible, as it was envisaged that the dual gauge track would be laid down to the wood mill at Fugenhardt. It is very unlikely that this will now happen, given the uncertainty surrounding the continued movement of this traffic by rail. The requirement to cater for disabled passengers meant that the railway had to order new compliant rolling stock. These were in the shape of low-floor carriages and driving trailers, which were delivered during 2007 and 2008, and all trains have at least one of the new vehicles in the formation. A VT series diesel unit with a new low-floor centre coach is seen on a northbound service for Jenbach. The line caters for many locals, who use the passenger trains to reach Jenbach and onwards to Innsbruck. Services operate every 30 minutes in each direction. The Zillertalbahn also operate a fleet of 30 road buses, which offer connections into and out of its rail services, serving many smaller communities along the line's route. Highlight of the summer operating period is the 10:30 am departure from Jenbach to Mayrhofen, which from the beginning of June to the first week of October is steam-hauled, usually by 1909 built 082 steam locomotive number 4. The journey down to Mayrhofen is leisurely, and the train is held on a number of occasions to allow the normal service trains to overtake. Whilst the steam heads for Fugenhart, we head south to Ried am Zillertal and Kaltenbach Stum stations, some 10 kilometres away. Returning north is number D15, with a Mayrhofen to Jenbach working. In the background is St Brictius Catholic Church in the town of Oudens, as number 4 gathers momentum as it heads south with its train now well loaded with passengers. Continuing south once more, we catch up with the steam, with a superb shot between the villages of Aschau and Erlach. Our next view shows the train approaching the terminus station at Mayrhofen. Once at Mayrhofen, the loco is serviced before heading north once more for a trip out and back to Aarschau im Zillertal, before finally departing north once more to Jenbach at 1634.
Fetten muss man auch haben manchmal.
Meanwhile, the normal service trains continue to arrive and depart, bringing with them locals and day trippers keen to sample the mountain air. Mayrhofen is a major ski resort and offers a number of outdoor pursuits including parachuting, for those brave enough, and an equally brave trip up one of the many cable car lines, stretching high across the valley floor. It's 12:50 and time for number D14 to depart, with its train bound for Jenbach. We then headed north and caught up with the train as it entered Fugenhardt station, the location where most tourists visiting the line join the steam excursion. The 4 diesels in this class are equipped with a Caterpillar engine producing 746 kilowatts. Weighing 50 tons, they are just over 14.5 metres long. Our final filming location is close to Jenbach, outside of the small halt at Rutholz. Rounding the curve is number D15, on the final kilometre of its journey north. The train is about to cross the bridge taking the line over the river Inn, before diving under the main autobahn linking Vergel with Innsbruck. D14 powers from the rear with this service for Mayrhofen. If you are ever in the area, it is always worth stopping off to have a look at the line, particularly the tracks north of Fugenhardt. Or better still, why not indulge yourself with a tour of the line behind a superb steam locomotive. In this section, we briefly call at two locations. The first near Belluno, and the other looking at traffic on lines radiating out of the large town of Novara. Railways in this part of the country are mainly branch lines that follow the contours of the rugged terrain or follow the course of river valleys. We begin close to the tourist town of Belluno. We are in the northern suburbs of the town, as a single Class 668 railcar, which are a common sight on this line, heads south from Calalzo Pieve di Cadore Cortina. (668-3130) is allocated to Treviso depot and is seen forming the O645 from Padova to Ponte Alpe Poppe. Another service for Belluno heads south. The line also sees a number of peak hour trains formed of locomotive and coach formations. These are operated by Class D445 locomotives with push-pull operated coaching stock and a driving trailer. This is the scene at Bribano station as D445-1145 heads north with the 0744 from Venezia. We now move west and to the large town of Novara. We chose three locations at which to film, one to the east, another to the south, and one to the north. We begin on the eastern side of the town, on the old classic main line to Milano. In the distance, the Alps once again dominate the skyline, whilst much closer we see the town with its many old buildings and churches, including the San Gaudenzio, the largest cupola seen on the right of the screen. The tower rises to an impressive 121 metres. The train in the foreground is typical of regional stopping services in the area, formed of push-pull fitted coaching stock powered by one of the ubiquitous Class 464 electric locomotives, which were first introduced in the year 2000. The foothills of the Alps are around 55 kilometres away, with the tallest peaks seen here nearly 100 kilometres distant, where they form the border between Italy, France and Switzerland. Private company Trenord operate numerous versions of Class EB 710, such as this 6-car unit seen heading east for Piotello. With nearly 700 Class 464s in traffic, they are seen operating on most Trenitalia regional services. The flat land in this part of Italy makes it ideal for growing rice, as can be seen by the paddy fields bordering the line. Trenord operates a half-hourly service to and from Piotello, which is situated just to the east of Milano. Another Class EB 710 heads east. We now move to the south of Novara on the main line to Mortara. We are just to the north of the town of Garbagne Navoretse, famed for the Santa Maria's Oratory, which is located here. Seen heading south is this Class 632 on a local stopping service for Alessandria. Our filming location was right next to the oratory, which dates as far back as at least to the year 1050. Why not pause your DVD on the information board coming up to read all about it? The sound of croaking frogs greet this pair of Class 663 diesel units, led by number 1165, as they head south with an early evening commuter service. This class is a development of the Class 668 diesel units we saw at the beginning of this section, where the 663s have slightly fewer seats and a flat front instead of the use of wraparound windows. The surviving Class 632s tend to be used more on empty coaching stock workings these days, such as this one seen heading north. We now move north of Novara, close to the junction of the lines to Borgo Manero and Oleggio. We are just north of Vignale, as a pair of Class 663 units, numbers 1101 and 1114, head south with an evening train from Borgo Manero to Novara. SBB Cargo's number 484011 heads for the mountains as it hauls a trainload of complete lorries towards Domodossola and then onwards via the BLS to Bern and Northern Europe. Finally, we see this southbound car train heading for Novara at just after 7:15 in the evening of the 23rd of May 2012. Although freight quantities have reduced in total over the years, and the relentless withdrawal of many of the older classes of electric locomotives, Italy still provides plenty for the railway enthusiast to observe, and is well worth a visit. We stick with the mountain scenery in our next section as we travel to Slovakia to study an interesting mainline in the north of the country where the Tatra Mountains provide an impressive backdrop. We begin this section close to the village of Vajets, where we filmed from two locations before moving east to Straba and onwards to Lutzivna, located just west of Poprad. Heading west is 163124 on the 0715 Kosice to Zelina. This was immediately followed by this track maintenance car, which had been looped in the station at Jenbach. The mountains consist of 17 peaks, rising to over 2,500 metres, with the highest being at 2,655 or 8,711 feet. A number of animals roam the mountains, including goats and the endangered Tatra chamois. There are also predators in the shape of the European brown bear, the Eurasian lynx, the marten and the wolf and fox. Not all of the nearby neighbours got on with each other. This argument between locals was eventually attended by the local police. Meanwhile, 350-006 heads west with the 2213 from Moscow to Bratislava, which takes 2 days to complete its journey. Note the Russian coach on the back of the formation. Freight traffic is fairly consistent on this route, with at least 2 to 3 seen each hour. Main motive power for such trains are the permanently coupled Class 131 electrics, used on this route, which has some long and stiff gradients. Number 131015 heads east. Our next shot is taken from the village itself, as another Class 131 heads west with a long trainload of open box wagons. Most passenger workings are handled by Class 163 electrics, such as the ones seen here powering the 0557 Bratislava to Kosice. We now move east and to the station at Zillertalbahn, which lies on the top of the gradient on the line up from Poprad. Class 131 number 055 heads towards the camera. Once the freight train has cleared, this overhead maintenance unit was allowed out of the loop. The station here is at an interesting location, being at the divide where water runoff either flows east and into the Black Sea or west into the Baltic. It is also the terminus for the narrow gauge rack railway that serves resorts and local communities in the Tatra Mountains. Another eastbound freight has double loco 131057 in charge on the front and 183004 dead in tow on the rear. 362005 rounds the curve at the head of the 1007 from Kosice to Bratislava. The date is Friday the 18th of May 2012. A couple of kilometres further east is the small village of Straba Zaztolka, where we see 163051 rounding the curve with the 1048 from Kosice to Praha. Note the car carrier on the rear of the train. In the opposite direction comes 363146 on the 0757 from Bratislava to Kosice. This is the station at Lutzivna, as 183043 and 006 head for Poprad. In the opposite direction, 183001 and 020 power this westbound coal train up the grade towards Straba. Finally, a superb wide-angle shot of 131033 heading down grade with a long mixed freight. The main line between Orléans and Étampes is a 200 km/h racetrack and almost entirely worked by traditional locomotive haul trains. We visit two locations just to the north of Artenay, whilst our more recent visit in June 2013 focuses on the route south of Monaville to Boisseau and onwards to a point just north of Toury. The date is Saturday the 11th of August 2012 at just before 7:45 in the morning. In the distance are the grain towers at Artenay as BB 7200 electric number 7316 heads north with the 0728 from Orléans to Paris. Five minutes later, 26117 powers north with the 1957 overnight train from Barcelona. Class 26,000 and BB 7200 electrics dominate the passenger trains seen along this line. Here 26037 is seen working a delayed 2115 Cerbère to Paris overnight service. In the opposite direction, locomotive number 7402 slows with the 0653 from Paris to Orléans. Moving slightly further north now, and we see number 7264 heading the 0753 from Orléans to Paris. Since leaving Orléans, the train has travelled around 24 kilometres and is currently around 123 metres above sea level. We are now just north of the station at Château Gaillard, looking north towards the town of Toury, as 26023 comes into view at the head of the 0842 Paris to Brive. Heading south at just after 10 AM is 7299 on the 0923 Paris to Toulouse. Number 7223 follows just 7 minutes later, with the 0927 from Paris to Orléans. The line is busy throughout the day, but particularly so in the early morning and evening peak periods. Even on a Saturday, between 6 and 7 trains per hour were filmed. Seen passing through the station at Chateau Gaillard is 26013, powering the 0922 from Tours. Finally, we see 26004 sporting Ghost livery as it heads south with the 0953 Paris to Cerbère. We now head north to just west of the small town of Monnerville. The date is Tuesday the 25th of June 2013 and heading north is 7263 in charge of the 0658 from Orléans. This is number 7402. We now head south as 26010 races by the camera. Freight traffic is fairly light, and we were nearly caught out by 27179 heading south. Right behind the car train came 27174. (7317) is seen heading north. We travel south once more, and we are at the country station at Boisseul, some 40 kilometres north of Orléans and 80 kilometres south of Paris. Number 7260 heads north with the 1830 overnight train from Madrid to Paris. (26037) heads south with the 0804 from Paris. As mentioned before, freight traffic is surprisingly light on this line, with perhaps, on average, only 2 or 3 workings every 2 hours. Number 27160 heads north with this container train at just after 9 AM. Our final scene comes from just north of Toury, as 27174 is seen returning north with 26104 dead in tow. One of the most photographed regions in Germany is along the Rhine Gorge. In this section we look at the route between Bingen in the south to Koblenz, mainly concentrating on the passenger flows that dominate the West Bank line. We start in Bingen before moving north to Trechtinghausen, Lorch, Oberwiesel, Lorelei, Boppard-Herzenach and finally Oosterspy, just to the south of Koblenz. It is the early morning of Wednesday the 10th of July 2013 as MRCE owned 189282 heads south with a container train, seen just to the east of Bingen station. This was immediately followed by this ICE unit, forming the 0437 from Dortmund to Vienne. Heading north is train IC2310, the 0638 Frankfurt to Westerland, powered at the rear by Class 120 number 114. On the right is diesel unit number 628594 on the 0556 from Kaiserslautern to Bingen. On the opposite side of the river is the popular tourist town of Rüdesheim. Most of the freight down the Rhine uses the East Bank line, such as the one seen here, as this unidentified Class 155 heads a mixed freight bound for Mannheim. Most of the faster container and intermodal trains operate along the West Bank. 185515 is in charge of this southbound working. Semi-fast services between Frankfurt and Koblenz are still operated using Class 143 electrics, often in top and tail mode. We now move north to Trechtinghausen station as the 0920 for Koblenz arrives in the shape of 460-004. This is the view from Loch, looking across to Peter Sackhoff station, as this Class 120 heads an intercity service north on Bank Holiday Monday, the 28th of May 2012. Loch is also the calling point for one of the regular Rhine River ferries, which make their way up and down the river. Just south of Bacharach, on the 10th of July 2013, we see MRCE Taurus High Loco number ES64U2072, heading the 0428 from Hamburg to Chur in Switzerland. This is the station at Bacharach, as 460-008 departs north with the 0932 from Mainz. ICE set number 411060 is working the 0837 from Dortmund to Vienne. In the background you can see the spire of St. Peter's Church, and to the left the Gothic ruins of the Werner Kapelle. In the opposite direction, a mixed freight heads north, with 185006 hauling 185043, 185389 and 151002 in the consist. An unusual visitor on test was diesel unit number 648003, operated by Belluno. The unit is built by Alstom and known as Lint 41H. Following along behind is the 1102 Koblenz to Frankfurt, operated by 143568 and 073. Moving north once more, we are at the village of Kalb, as two Class 101 electrics top and tail this northbound intercity service on the 28th of May 2012. In the centre of the river is the preserved Pfalzgrafenstein. First erected in 1326, it was used to collect tolls from passing boats. In 1607 and 1755, gun turrets and then the former Baroque tower were added. It would accommodate about 20 men. ICE 119 to Innsbruck is seen heading south. We are now at Oberwiesel on the 10th of July 2013 once more, as 185526 heads this northbound freight. Nearby, work was going on to dredge the river. It's good to see that Class 139s and Class 140s are still used on freight traffic along this line, with so few now remaining in service. This example heads south. "13 kilometres further north is the station at Boppard-Herzenach. This station offers an excellent vantage point for trains heading south on the West Bank line. Powering an intermodal train south is Railpool's 186288. On the opposite side of the bank we see MRCE High Loco, number ES64U2067. Following along behind is XDB Class 215, number 225100, operating with BBL Logistic. This was the same locomotive we saw in European Railway number 50. Rounding the curve and heading south is 120-143, hauling dead 101-007 on the 0732 from Hamburg to Frankfurt. There are some great colour schemes applied to locomotives these days. Take the striking green livery applied to the front of 185550 for instance. One of the highlights of our Rhine feature was capturing this. Number 140128 is seen on a test run for Koblenz. The preserved loco heads north after visiting Mainz. River cruises are a familiar attraction on this part of the line. This one is overtaken by a Class 101 as it heads south. Moving north once more and we are at AUSTRIA as this Class 120 and 101 combination head north past the numerous vineyards that grow on the steep valley sides. Our final scene comes from Lorelei, where a pair of MRCE Class 189 hire locos make a fine sight at the head of a northbound intermodal on Monday the 25th of May 2012. We would like to thank you once again for watching this edition of European Railway.